Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event. Here, once again with me, Daniel.
And Aaron.
And we are joined again by How's the Bacon, Nathan.
The bacon's good.
The bacon's good. That's what we like to hear. And we've also got Cameron on the show again. Cameron, how are you doing, mi amigo?
Better than last week. Ish, slightly.
Were you particularly bad last week?
Not in like a overall sense, but just in I've been out and played football today, so I'm better.
Oh, that's
You
good.
didn't have any bacon.
I did have a bacon sandwich this morning.
Oh,
What do you have in your bacon sandwich, everyone? So Cameron, go first. Tomato sauce or brown?
Neither.
What?
I have mayonnaise.
Oh,
you can tell you're from Sunderland.
everyone, just want to obviously say goodbye to Cameron. This will be his last main event
That's
podcast.
disgusting.
Nathan, what you having on your bacon sandwich?
Nothing. I just have butter. I take the fat off the bacon as well.
Oh, I use a peasant to pair you. Aaron?
Serious. I need to come up with like a weird one now, don't I?
Oh,
No, ketchup. Just ketchup. I don't mind brown sauce if someone gives me it for free, but I won't ask for one. I think you can't really go wrong with a bacon sandwich until I heard them answers, to be fair. So
Oh, you've got to try mine. It's
I'm
lovely.
all right, mate.
Oh, well, yeah, you can't try it, Aaron.
yeah, I'm allergic to mayonnaise. So
Just admire it.
Cameron, I think you're about as good as picking a bacon sandwich condiment as you are as picking players for this fantasy game.
Yeah,
I'm team brown sauce personally. I don't like ketchup, which is why I don't like mayonnaise either, unless it's got like garlic in it and it's on a kebab.
I
but,
don't like ketchup or brown.
But yeah, brown sauce. Ooh, yes. Anyway, we do have stuff to talk about tonight regarding the Champions League. So we've had the second lot of first leg fixtures being played. So as per, we're going to go through those games. We're going to really analyse hard. Hope you have a bit of a laugh along the way. We are recording this on Wednesday night, so it's just after the Man City Mönchengladbach and the Atlanta Real Madrid games have finished, just so that we can get it out to you by the weekend, as that was the request via our Twitter poll. So our live ranks won't be available or anything like that, but we can go through how many points we've got and how good or bad our decisions were for this round. So let's start with the beginning. Atletico Madrid versus Chelsea. A game that some people were disappointed by, but I don't know how you can be disappointed when surely you knew that this was going to be a rubbish game from the beginning. Aaron, what were your thoughts on this one?
from the actual gameplay, I thought, kind of what you've just said, Dan. This is what we were expecting. Atletico Madrid had a bad run of form as we went into this game, because when we originally recorded the preview, they were doing really, really well, and now they've kind of looked shaky. And so I guess that backs up your theory, Dan, of making sure you pick people who play in the first week, because it can change so quickly in football, especially in a congested schedule. So Atletico Madrid were not the same ones as we were looking at that we were previewing just 2 weeks ago. Chelsea looking solid defensively. Unless you're Rudiger, it's very hard to score against them. In terms of this game, though, it's 100% what we were expecting. Just one goal would go into it. I put on the predictor game that when I saw Giroud starting, I said Giroud would score. Unfortunately, that doesn't count for this podcast, as we weren't sure if Giroud would play, never mind score. But players like Alonso that you called out, Dan, played really well. I had Savic and Suarez in this game. I was expecting Savic to get more ball recovery points, and I think that's where the disappointment comes, is that there wasn't more ball recovery points, or I've probably just picked the wrong defender. And even players like Llorente didn't really do well, like a yellow card and stuff like that. So I can see frustration.
If we look through a lot of these fixtures, we can see how injuries have played a big part for Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. So I think we've been sort of vindicated in trying to recommend people go for the first lot of fixtures. We have the most information about those fixtures. And one of the bad things with this game from an Atletico Madrid point of view when we previewed everything is two of the starting centre-backs were injured, but then Yannick Carrasco was also injured, and he is absolutely pivotal for their counter-attacking game. We've mentioned his work ethic before, so taking him out the picture, Thomas Lemar just isn't the same player as Yannick Carrasco. And then Marcus Llorente gets played as right wing back, and that is all of his attacking threat gone. And like you say, because of his defensive work, he ends up picking up a booking as well. But, you know, when we do the preview 2 weeks ago, they do look good. That is why we like that first lot of fixtures. Nathan, what did you make of this game?
Just like you both said, it was predictable how the game was going to be played. I think, in a way, it was going to take like some moment of magic to actually get a goal, because it just seemed like no one was going to score at some points. But I had Llorente and Felix, so it didn't really go down too well for me in my midfield. It was always going to be that way, where the game was played. It was always going to be defensive, who could come out on top. Tuchel likes to play that way most of the time. He's got Chelsea quite organised, really. They look a different team. Werner looks a little bit more confident when he gets in front of goal, which is hopefully good to see.
Cameron?
I only watched the highlights of this game, and based off the highlights, Atletico Madrid seemed to have the majority of the big chances. As Nathan said, it was going to take something special to score a goal, because Thomas Tuchel's suddenly changed Chelsea into a top-class defensive team. I think they've only conceded 2 goals since he's been there. And in Atletico Madrid are just renowned for being one of the best defensive teams in the world. Edouard tried to do his best Kepa impression in the first 2 minutes. There was a couple of moments where Suarez got the ball off Rudiger, I think, in the corner, and then obviously Lamar missed at the back post. But apart from that, Chelsea didn't really look too shaky from what I've seen, and it was quite even.
Yeah, both teams definitely went into this with a game plan, and I think both teams would actually be quite happy with how the game plan went. Atletico's plan was to hustle and harry when they could, when the opportunities were there to get at Chelsea's defence, because they aren't great on the ball. But beyond that, it was a case of let's get 10 men. Once they sort of broke any kind of press, it was, right, 10 men behind the ball now, and we will let you pass it around. And Chelsea enjoyed having possession of the ball just purely because it suits their players. And while they had the ball, they know that Atletico Madrid can't create any chances. And without Carrasco being that driving force on the counter-attack, I don't think they ever really felt threatened from that counter. You're right, Cameron. The chances that Atletico Madrid had early doors came from high pressing when Chelsea allowed them to do that. Mendy is a very, very lucky boy, A, for not conceding, and then B, for not conceding a penalty and potentially getting sent off. It could have been a very, very different story, but ultimately Chelsea persevered. It was a very boring game of football, in my opinion. I don't think there are some games like this. I think we talked about it last year that I really, really enjoyed. The Atlanta PSG first half, even though that was 0-0, there was tactics clearly unsure there. Both managers had a system. There was high energy. This game didn't have any of that. I thought both teams were asleep for the first half. And then ultimately it's been won by one moment of luck and one moment of magic. What do we make of Giroud's goal? It's a tale of 2 overhead kicks. João Felix had one in the second half that he blazed over the bar. And then obviously Giroud's put one away. He's the master of special goals. Was anyone else confused at first with how long it was taking VAR to make that decision?
Yes, because I think even on the original camera angle, you can see Hermoso's leg go and kick the ball, and the referee's right in front of it. So I was a bit confused. And then I was a bit confused after when Savic ran to the referee and was complaining about how's that goal being allowed when it's went to VAR. VAR's made the right decision. You've conceded, get on with it.
Yeah, it was too obvious and it took stupidly long. As soon as I say the ball's hit Hermoso, it should be right to goal. But take nothing away from it. Giroud turns his body so quickly and it's a perfect overhead kick. And like you said, Dan is a specialist of wonder goals.
I saw a video put together about Giroud's best career moments, and it was like titled, "This video Giroud will show his kids and they'll think that he's the GOAT." Because like some of the goals that he scored were unbelievable, especially some like Arsenal and lifting the World Cup with Fran. Like, as a career, he's such an important player, but he doesn't get a lot of like individual awards, but I think that's part of the special thing about Giroud is that he doesn't have he's not going to be the go-to striker for a lot of people's teams, but I bet a lot of these players that have played with him say that he'll be one of the best players they've played with. And I think that's part of it, is that you're not really expecting him to score a million goals, but the work that he does off the ball is incredible. He's such a good team player, but then he comes out with moments of brilliance all the time, and just the confidence to even try and attempt these things when you haven't been playing regularly, knowing that if you mess it up, you're probably going to get benched for Abraham. To be fair, he probably knows that anyway, so he's like, what the heck, I'm going to try it. I think he's great. And the annoying thing is, though, whenever he's on TV, Steph just looks and goes, ooh, he's attractive. And I'm like, you said that last time Giroud was on the TV. And she's like, oh, yeah, I did.
He's a beautiful man. He's a beautiful man.
He's incredibly handsome, isn't he? If we had a best looking 11, he'd be up front all day long, I think.
Yeah.
Landor. I would say, just to add on for the amount of time it took VAR, maybe there was a confusion over the rule. I know obviously the referee should know the rule, but
Dan, you're pretty close with Peter Walton. What did Peter Walton say about it?
As you can, God, I can't do that again.
It's too late for that.
It's far too late for that. He probably would have agreed. He always agrees. Does he ever disagree?
Nope. No, I don't think so. But we'll come on to another thing later about refereeing decisions.
I reckon Peter Walton's in on it. I reckon he's in on it. I don't think Peter Walton's actually a real person. I think it's face tracker. It's Brian Bertondi. Bye, Ben. Bertondi. Peter Walton. It's got to be him.
I don't get that reference.
You never watched Space Tracker?
Nope.
Oh, anyone that hasn't seen Face Tracker, get on it. Absolutely need to have a look at Face Tracker or Phone Tracker, but Face Tracker, Brian Bedondi. But yeah, Peter Walton's an absolute waste of time being on there. But I can't even remember him being a referee.
Same.
Probably the Championship one or League One, with my standard.
But it doesn't matter anyway. Like, is it Dermot Gallagher that they've got on
Sky?
He was in Premier League, wasn't he?
On Sky every
he's
Monday.
Premier League, and he was dreadful. He was absolutely awful as a referee. And now they've got him on, giving gratification to all these egotistical maniacs running around on the pitch.
Mike Dean.
I mean, it's just some of the decisions I hear are just absolutely crazy coming out of both the mouths. And I think a lot of fans can sort of agree. Yeah, I mean, Peter Walton, get him off. Get anyone else on. Even get someone, I tell you who actually I quite like, Mark Clattenburg. Clattenburg is really good because he's dead honest. He doesn't care. He gets paid by the Saudi Arabian referees league or whatever. He's absolutely minted now. So he just comes out and he's like, yeah, I'll tell you how it is. I've got the goss. So yeah, I'd like to see Mark Clattenburg come in and just speak a bit of sense and be honest as well. He's not afraid to disagree, but at the same time, he doesn't do a Mike Dean and disagree for disagreement's sake. Is there anything else anyone wants to say about this one? I don't think there's any surprises with how boring it was.
Only thing I wanted to bring up was that starting with Hudson-Odoi, especially with his little cameo appearance the weekend before, I think that him and Tuchel's relationship is going to be quite interesting to look at over the next few weeks and months, because obviously you've got Reece James there, who is a class player. And I think that Hudson-Odoi is really fighting for his place, and hopefully we can start to see a good player that Bayern Munich was so heavily invested in start to form from this, because we know that Hudson-Odoi's got talent. And I think what Tuchel's trying to do now is just unlock more by basically saying, like, your position's not taken for granted and stuff like that. You've got like Ziyech and stuff who's sulking on the bench, and Reece James, I think he's also a very hungry player who's got talent, and so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there over the next few weeks and months. But I thought he performed well in this game, playing right wing back. I thought he played really well, and Mason Mount as well. I think he's a solid player, so it's quite promising for England.
Gareth Southgate up mentioning Mount.
Absolutely. Mason Mount is now suspended for the second leg after picking up a yellow card.
1 minute into the game.
So I think that's a massive blow for Chelsea. I think he's hugely underrated. I think his ability on the ball is absolutely fantastic, and his work rate off it is even better. He gets far too much stick. I still think he's the best Chelsea attacker. I think he's been Chelsea's best player this season.
There must be a
comfortably.
reason. I saw a stat the other day that he started 80 out of the last 82 Chelsea games in all competitions. So there must be a reason why that's happened.
Yeah.
In one of those games that he missed was Tuchel's first game, and then since then he's played every single game under him. So it's not just, he's Lampard's favourite, he's Lampard's golden boy. Tuchel's left him out, and then saw his quality. He's played every game, and he's been fantastic. Goals, assists, causing a nuisance. It was him just making a nuisance of himself in the Atletico Madrid box that obviously caused the panic in their defence and Giroud's goal. So I think a lot of people give him a bit of stick because they feel like the place in the England team is between Mount and Grealish, and they want Grealish to have it, which is absolutely fair. But just because, you know, Jack Grealish might be better than Mason Mount doesn't mean Mason Mount himself isn't a fantastic footballer or deserves to play. But we'll move on to Lazio versus Bayern Munich. 1-4. This game brought out every emotion in me. Aaron, you're the Italian correspondent. You're the Serie A fan here. What did you make of this one?
From a Lazio perspective, it was really, really disappointing. I mean, I've said that since the previews of the actual competition in the group stage preview, that this team, they've got the ability, but just on any given night, you just don't know what you're going to get. You're either going to get unbelievable, which you got through the group stage where they were unbeaten, or you get this, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing. It was all self-inflicted. It was like they were playing terrified, almost as if we lined up against Bayern Munich, how we would play against them. We'd just be so scared to try and do anything or to implement your game plan because you're so scared of what the opposition can do. And that's the kind of the terminology that's coming out of Italy, is just being scared and cowards and stuff like that. It's quite harsh, but that's just the way the Italian media is. They didn't perform at all. It's almost as if they had just got double gangers to play, kind of like Space Jam, where someone had sucked the talent out of the players. Really disappointing. But from a Bayern Munich perspective, got the job done, get their confidence back after a few little blips, and got a good lead that you can bring back to Germany and advance to the next stage.
Yeah, the Lazio defending was... They just stood off them for quite a few of the goals. It was just, there you go, don't want to tackle you. We'll just watch. We might get a block in, but we might not.
Let's talk about the goals. We'll start with the first one. Masaccio with a terrible back pass. Obviously doesn't see Lewandowski. And, I mean, Lewandowski was incredible. He pressed Arena all night long. He was pressing him, looking for mistakes out of everyone. Reina's distribution...
Bad.
I've not seen anything quite like it. He must have a 4% passing accuracy by the end of that game. I don't know what he was wearing. He must have had sand in his shoes or something, wet sand, weighing him down. Every bit of distribution he tried was straight to a Bayern Munich player. It was absolutely shocking. He shouldn't be playing in the next game. He was that bad. But even before Lewandowski's goal, there were actually a couple of chances. Kimmich despairingly puts the ball across, and Lewandowski sort of gets in his own way and it goes through his legs. I mean, the first half could have ended 10-2. Lazio did have a couple of chances themselves, but I don't think there's any real way of predicting that Masaccio would just gift Lewandowski a goal like that. But the second one is genuine class from Bayern Munich. I think at that point in the game, they were struggling a little bit. Just before the goal goes in, there is a penalty appeal. We'll talk about that, saying that it's in chronological order. Yes or no from everyone? Should it have been a penalty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's phenomenal how 4 people can sit here and go, yeah, that's a penalty. And every single person in a studio can go, yeah, that's a penalty. And yet the official, Peter bloody Walton, and John Boy Walton, who sat in the VAR studios doing what is happening here? I don't get it. What are they looking at? They said that, was it Luis Alberto that ran through? That he... Milinkovic-Savic, sorry. That Milinkovic-Savic initiated the contact. Jerome Boateng stuck out his leg, and then, yeah, he ran into it. But if this is the case, then there will never be a foul again, because every attacker runs into a defender's leg. When the defender sticks their leg out across his body, it's mind-blowing.
It's part of what we've said though, consistency. You could get that was turned down, but then the next game you could get it where that exact same tackle could happen and it's a pen.
I think one of the worst things about it was that just killed off Lazio's confidence in the game. I feel like at that stage it could have been 1-1. I still think Bayern Munich would have won, but I don't think that the quick succession of goals, especially like straight after the second half, I don't think that would have happened because I think Lazio would have had a bit more belief. You could tell there were nerves. Yeah, 100%. I think that it should have been given, and that's kind of what the Lazio players are. I could sense and I can feel the frustration. You could. That's one of the things I'm happy about with no crowd, is that you can just like hear the players and how like much they talk, but also sense the emotion behind it as well. You could just see that when they were surrounding the ref, and you just couldn't understand it. I think one thing I want to bring up on this just before we move on, I don't know if you have seen the tested to the limit Ronaldo one, where they do the different tests on him, like sports science tests.
I've seen that one. Where he shoots balls through glass and scores from corners in the dark.
Yeah, the dribbling one where he is not looking at the ball, he's looking at the legs of the defender and basically tracking his eye movement. I know that's Ronaldo, but I'm sure that anybody, once they get to the professional level, like especially this when it's the Champions League, it's like elite level. Like I doubt they have to look down constantly where the ball is, and they are looking at where the defender is going to put their leg. And so when they say, oh yeah, the striker initiated the contact, I think it comes down to, well, that's because they are elite at this level and they know where the defender is going to put their leg. Like they can kind of predict it somewhat, but there is a huge difference because I think we saw it. I think it was the Leeds Southampton game. I know that was in the Premier League, but that penalty got turned down because he definitely did initiate the contact. Like you saw the Leeds defender pull back, and then like the Southampton player tried his hardest to make contact. There's a difference between that and this one. Even if he did try and initiate the penalty, and the same with Ronaldo's last week, even if he knew that the defender was going to clatter into him, there's a huge difference, I feel like. And I feel like the refs are getting way too strict on it, but I don't know whether that's a VAR issue or poor refereeing. It's just too big of an area to try and cover.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of really poor officiating once again. But the referee was bad all game. There was a moment just after that where Leroy Sané was being pulled from pillar to post by the Lazio players. The referee doesn't give anything, and then nothing happens. I think there's like a shoulder barge from a Bayern player or something, and he blows for a free kick to Lazio. And we can't accuse him of being biased because obviously he doesn't give the penalty for Lazio. It was just throughout the game, he was making really bad decisions. And I think he clearly has no concept of how a game of football is played. I'm sure he's done a lot of refereeing, but he really feels to me like someone that has never played at any level, because he just he just doesn't understand. He cannot understand with what I was watching. And again, we are four normal people and we're able to sit here and go, yeah, that's a pen, agree with everyone else. And yet these professionals are getting it wrong, consistently getting it wrong.
I think referees get too power happy, try to make everything about them. I mean, I know the Premier League over the past couple of days have introduced this new something for referees. I can't remember what it's called.
That's the referees.
Yeah, they're gonna have that on the shirts now, along with the no room for racism.
Crazy, absolutely crazy that you can put those two things in the same thing. People cannot choose their ethnicity. You can definitely choose whether you're a good referee or not by training, and you can definitely choose whether you're going to be a narcissist or make it all about you. Like, those two messages should not be conflated. And ultimately, refereeing comes down to decisions. Now, there are always going to be awful people out there that want to take things too far. Like the death threats to Mike Dean were absolutely stupid, and horrendous. He's made really poor decisions, but he doesn't deserve threats on his life. There's always going to be idiots out there, but the players shouldn't have to go out and go, we are going to back referees when they make really bad decisions that cost everyone. Because at the minute, referees are totally unaccountable. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to answer to anyone. They don't have to answer to the media. They don't have to answer to the fans. When they submit the report, they submit it to the FA and the referees. They don't submit it to any sort of public forum to explain the decisions. And they'll make wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision and not get dropped. If a football player makes that many bad decisions, they get dropped. If a manager does that badly, he gets sacked. Anyone in any normal job who does badly, there are consequences to doing badly, whereas there just doesn't seem to be any. So they've got no incentive to change. They just get smoke blown up their asses.
I think I've only seen one referee ever be dropped, and that is Howard Webb when he refereed Sunderland versus Newcastle. He had an absolute horrific performance, and then they dropped him down to League One or something for one game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. He had an absolute howler.
The only time I've seen a referee get dropped was when he got tripped by a player and then kicked the player.
Oh, he got suspended.
Oh, yeah.
French referee.
But didn't that happen in League One the other day as well in Ipswich? Didn't the ref square up one?
Crazy. Graham Poll as well. When he gave 3 yellow cards at the World Cup, I think he got sent home for that. But I mean, that's the levels of incompetence that need to be met. Assault or giving someone 3 yellow cards. But let's get off our tirade of referees. We'll get back to the game because Bayern Munich's second goal was absolutely class. A brilliant pass in from Leon Goretzka and a cultured, mature finish from a 17-year-old that not many people had heard of before this game. Jamal Musiala, English lad, who unfortunately plays for Germany, but it was just an absolute pleasure to watch that goal. I don't think Lazio were too bad defensively for that one. That was the one goal where I thought, okay, you haven't done too much wrong there. Does anyone disagree? Does anyone have an opinion on that?
No, I thought their buy-in were just brilliant, like especially on the counter-attack for that goal. Goretzka didn't even look where Musiala was, and then Musiala's finish was just always curling in that bottom corner.
Beautiful.
So I think it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it showed some confidence. Like, he's young and he's playing in the Champions League and finishing like that. It's showing he's got confidence.
17.
Exactly.
Crazy. That's like pre-university. It's sixth form. And you're scoring in a Champions League knockout game for Bayern Munich. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I brought him up in the the round of 16 preview when I was unsure about which winger to choose.
Yeah.
I said that Musiala is starting to play more regularly, but I didn't expect him to start. I think that just became, like, obviously because of Muller. I think he caught COVID.
Yeah, he did.
And it's crazy that he's got this much trust. I was listening to post-match, like kind of the just analysis, the discussions and stuff like that. Owen Hargreaves was on, who I don't mind, but
he's one of the better ones. Definitely one of the better ones.
Yep.
Don't like his voice.
It's all picky, Cameron. I bet he doesn't like yours. You know that Owen Hargreaves emailed me. He was like, guys, love the pod, but how annoying is Cameron's Mackham voice? And he's like, I've had to unfollow you and I've stopped listening.
Thanks. Continue.
He was saying that he is going to be such a special player and that he had watched him in the Bundesliga. Obviously, he has Bayern Munich ties. So unlike the rest of the English pundits on the English channels, he actually watches more leagues than just the Premier League. And he was saying that he's just been so impressive. I just think it's unfortunate. I don't want to get into it too much with the whole nationality thing because it's so hard to put that much of a decision on a young kid. Regardless, Musiala is going to be a quality player if he continues on this projection that he's currently on. Bayern Munich have got a quality player.
I think he's lucky as well because the players he's got around him are class. So he's learning off them players how to like play his game. It's like Foden. He's got class players around him. and you see him building his game around with them players. And obviously, if you're learning off the best, you pick up traits that can make you the best.
That's a bit of a bold statement to say the best, like going to make them the best.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think in
It's probably
terms
keeping them
of
grounded as well. If you think of it like a 17-year-old kid that just scored in the Champions League, he's probably thinking, "Mint, let's have a out of COVID party." And then players probably, keeping them grounded about, no, you just get on with it.
in terms of like Musiala and his like dramatic rise, I remember the Bayern Munich's last game of last season. He came on and scored. And the manager brought him on just so he could get a medal. It was him and Chris Richards, and he came on and scored. And Chris Richards got the assist. And I saw an interview that they did the other day, and they said it was the best moment of their life. So they're definitely grounded. And I think he chose to play for Germany because was he born in Germany? Born in Berlin or somewhere like that?
He was born in Germany and then moved to England when he was under 10. I don't know the exact age. And then played through the England youth system.
Played for Chelsea.
Yeah, played for Chelsea.
It's another one Chelsea's let go.
His decision, isn't it? So whatever. I think it's a bit rich when people go, "Oh, will he play for England?" When 99% of the English population had no clue who he was before last night.
Yeah.
So, all right. Plus, I mean,
England don't need him.
We need centre midfielders and defenders, not more attacking midfielders. We've got enough of those knocking around. We'll talk about Bayern Munich's third goal, which was just
Comedy.
Oh, it was absolutely hilarious. It was like a Marx Brothers movie. Two Lazio players running into each other and none of them getting the ball. I think in the Bayern Munich half, Cherby is dreadful. He had one of the worst games I've ever seen any centre-back ever have. And this was one of his many mistakes. Just clattering into his own player. Kingsley Coman runs half the length of the pitch. Does really well to turn Lazio players inside out. Gets his shot away. Unfortunately, it's right at Reina. He is expected to save it, but Reina, continuing his dreadful form for the night, just parries it straight into the path of Leroy Sané, who knocks it away. And it's just another comedy goal, but probably not as funny as Bayern Munich's last goal.
This one, Cherby with a no-look own goal.
Unbelievable. I don't know. What does he do? Could anyone... I've watched that a few times, and again, as an amateur, there are so many things that could have been done to prevent this. But we see own goals sometimes, like, oh, you can't really help it, or oh, he's kind of had to do that. This is like completely unnecessary. You could just kick the ball another way. It's not like Leroy Sané has just hit it off him. The ball's travelled 15 yards. And I think, like you say, he looks the other way and then is surprised. He's surprised when the ball goes in the direction that he's kicked it.
Getting a Puskas award.
I think the first point is Lazio shouldn't concede from their corner.
No.
Especially when they had 5 men in the box when the ball went in, compared to Bayern Munich only having Sané and Alphonso Davies. Second thing is Cherby looks like he's trying to sort out his feet, but just kind of falls into the net and just chucks it pretty much, and just
gets confused by his own feet.
That's literally what it looks like. You can't blame it on tiredness because it was only 50 seconds into the second half.
I think what it was that Cherby listens to the podcast and he wanted to prove Dan right that Alphonso Davies doesn't get attack and returns.
Exactly. Well, I was cursing because I was just like, because obviously it was one of those where the camera's fully on Leroy Sané and you can see someone coming into the box, and I'm like, well, the chances are that's Kingsley Coman. And then obviously puts it in his net, and I'm like, oh, is he just taking that off Coman? And then I have a look at it, it's Davies. Get in. Like, absolutely thrilled that he's knocked it in. But Lazio weren't the only ones who were culpable of some horrible defending, because I think their goal is just as funny as some of the ones that they've conceded. Jerome Boateng marking his own shadow, and David Alaba clearly thinks that Correa has COVID and does his best to stay as far away as possible from him to just let him go. I've never seen, with Lazio, they were it's obviously their goals are like absolute comedy, but they were nervous, and it's like they weren't trying. It's just like the brains switched off at key moments. Bayern Munich's defenders looked absolutely petrified to tackle inside their own box. And honestly, I think there's a reason why Alaba's going on a free. Everyone is banning on, oh, we want him. He's going to get 400 grand a week, 500 grand a week. He's absolutely crap at centre back. We've said this for so long. He's the left back. Or when he plays for Austria, I'm pretty confident he plays like calm.
For anywhere.
He's just in the team.
Yeah, he's like, he's the Austrian Zinchenko, and Zinchenko plays calm for Ukraine left back. He can play left back for us at Man City. He's shocking as centre back. Jerome Boateng was also shocking. I think every centre back on the pitch should have been wearing clown makeup, because Boateng should have given away a penalty, and his defending throughout the night was awful. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, though, with his recent bereavement. We'll say that played a part in it. Alaba's got no excuse. What did you make of the Correa goal?
I thought, I've always rated Correa, and I'll take it back to the start of this season where I had Correa in my team.
I feel
And Aaron told me to take him out because he wouldn't get any attacking returns. And he's probably been Lazio's best player. So that is, don't trust Aaron.
I wouldn't say he's better than Immobile has been in the Champions League, but I did say that he wasn't
a good player.
Yeah, definitely. And all I said was that he wasn't one of their core 3 players which get the most returns, just going off their league form. But I think going off the goals, the Sane Kirby own goal in Korea, if I had to look into a crystal ball on how most football matches are going to be after lockdown lifts, these are the goals that we're going to see everywhere. Like, this match is literally going to be us in a couple of months when we play football again. Maybe with like less pace. So like if you slow down the play speed to like 0.25,
less pace, more weight.
That's going to be us.
I played football today, and I'm sat right now. I can't bend my left leg because my knee is in that much pain.
Like, with Lazio getting this goal, it literally does nothing except from help me get higher in the ranks of fantasy because of the amount of people that had Bayern Munich defenders. That's literally it.
So we'll get on to the next game. Tonight, we had one fairly good game and one damn squid. We'll start with the damn squid. We'll go into damn squid. What's up with me saying things over these last
damn squid?
Squid.
Can squids be damp?
Yeah, it's a damn squid. You know, most of all those dry squids not around flying through the air.
I think they're dead squids, to be fair, if they're dry.
How's the squid, did you say? How's the calamari?
Dry.
Damp squibs. Oh, it's too late. We've got Atalanta getting beat 1-0 off a depleted Real Madrid team. We'll start with the controversy. Freuler sending off. One word answer. Was it a sending off?
No.
Aaron?
No.
No.
I'm going to disagree and say that I thought it was a sending off.
Why was it a sending off?
I think when you're a professional footballer running through with a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, that's denying a goal scoring opportunity.
It's just agreed with Peter Walton.
I have just agreed.
Our very own Peter Walton.
The big man, PW.
I believe
for one.
I believe that they were running through 50-50. Yes,
You're about to turn to Martin Luther King Jr. for a second there, Cameron. I believe.
And they were running through 50-50.
I have a dream.
And I think the Real Madrid attacker goes down way too easily. He feels a little like you're leaning into him, and that's it. He's down, flat on his face, rolling around like typical people.
Wait a second, Cameron. Are you saying that players from La Liga go down way too easily?
No, Aaron.
I've never
Is this new information?
I've never made that observation before. That's insane.
We'll get on to another player from La Liga later on in the game that should have been sent off for similar reasons.
So I'll go with you then. So we've got a 3-1 on whether it should have been a send off. Either way, what I'm sure we can all agree is that it completely ruined the game.
Yeah.
Because it was just all Real Madrid from that point. And ultimately, they still struggled to break down an Atalanta team that loved to concede goals. They make it their life's work to see the joy in other teams score. They're a very charitable defence, Atalanta. And it's taken an absolute beauty from Mendy curling one in. Aaron, being the Italian correspondent, what did you make of this game?
So I thought that Atalanta, like what you said, the Freuler red card, like kind of killed their game. Zapata getting substituted off straight away. I thought that was just like, I don't understand Gasparini's, like, the cautiousness that he plays with sometimes. Like, you know that your defense isn't the best. Just go out the way you normally do. I feel like you could have maybe took off Pessina instead of Zapata. Zapata looked a bit more dangerous. And Muriel, he's played against Real Madrid so many times. But when it's 4 defenders focusing on Muriel instead of Muriel and Zapata, like, I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of the wrong substitute because both of them are quick.
Zapata was injured though, didn't he? Had ice on his knee.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he looked really depressed in the stand.
Yeah.
I didn't see that bit, sorry. Yeah, it was just a shame because of all of that happening. It kind of just killed off the game, in my opinion. But then again, Atalanta, if you look at their Champions League form, they've won every away game and even beaten Liverpool. But then again, that's not an achievement right now. But back when Atalanta did it, it was an achievement. And with 1-0, it's kind of still all up in the air because can Atalanta get an away goal? Yes, like with the way that they attack. So I still feel like the tie is still up in the air. So it could have been a lot worse having a red card so early in the game. So I think they'll be okay with the score, but it definitely could have went a lot better.
This was Atalanta's chance to get an advantage, especially with how depleted Real Madrid's team was. Like, coming off the bench, they had Mariano, and that was it. So I think Atlanta will probably be really disappointed with the way they performed. Even though they did go down to 10 men, I still think they'll be disappointed with the way the game went, and probably feel like they should have scored, even though, as I said, it was all Real Madrid in the second half from when I watched it.
I think it was pretty much all Real Madrid for the entire game, to be honest. Once that sending off happened, in Real Madrid, I think we're on top anyway, but it totally took everything out of it. Modric had a couple of long distance shots that were excellent, but couldn't quite, find the back of the net. Probably could have been more, but it's just an absolute sickener. Every one of us that had an Atalanta defender, and he gets taken away at the 85th minute or whatever it was after such good work throughout the entire game. And my one Real Madrid player, Casemiro, gets booked.
He should have been sent off. He should have been sent off
for diving.
Yeah.
Again, it's another bad refereeing decision.
If you dive, it's a yellow card. I don't care if you're a yellow card already. It's a yellow card.
No, I agree with you there.
The referee went up to him and went, if you do it one more time, you're off. And that was, like, he's not going to do it anymore if you've got, he's going to, one more time. If you dive one more time, you're off. Like, no, he's dove, send him off. And it was a comical dive. He got slightly nudged in the back and then took about 6 steps and went flat on his face.
I'm glad he didn't get sent off because my week, I really couldn't afford it to get any worse. So
and he misses the next leg too. So it gives Atalanta a better chance in the next leg because Casemiro got
suspended. Is it?
Yeah, he's suspended now.
Well, that's one of my substitutes confirmed then.
Well, I've just looked there. Romero got 10 ball recovery points, like 10 ball recoveries today.
Points.
I was going to say points. I'd be happy if he considered the goal. Still got us decent points.
Yeah, it's one of those where Gosens was a great pick with 11 men on the field, but as soon as Atlanta go down to 10, that is the two wing backs out of the game entirely, and they don't get as many ball recovery points, and Gosens got booked. Honestly, I don't think I've had a game week with so many people getting booked. It was absolutely ridiculous. I had, as far as, the Bayern game goes, Bayern Munich had 2 players get booked, Coleman and Kimmich.
Yeah, Kimmich get a booking.
In the Atlanta Real Madrid game, I had 2 players, Gosens and Casemiro, both got booked. It's just, what is happening here? All of them, just so many little niggly points dropped here and there. But we'll move on to the final game, Mönchengladbach versus Manchester City. And again, this game was just totally dominated by Manchester City. Mönchengladbach seemed to have a real inferiority complex when it comes to playing against these big teams. They are petrified. We saw that against Real Madrid, despite the fact that they were probably the best team in that group. But up against Madrid, you could see they were scared. And up against Man City, you could see that they were really, really, really scared, as they probably should be. Manchester City with 19 wins in a row or something stupid, and
it's 19 in a row now.
First English team to have 12 away wins in a row across all competitions. I mean, no one can compete with their squad. Their squad is just absolutely massive. Bringing on Ferran Torres and Sergio Aguero off the bench.
And when Kevin De Bruyne still sat on the bench.
Absolutely phenomenal. John Stones is probably England's best defender, and he doesn't get a game.
Yeah.
Obviously, I appreciate he's part of a rotation system with Diaz and Laporte, so I know I'm being a little bit naughty when I say that, but still, no other team can choose to rest a centre back like that.
I think as well, no other team can have their left back basically playing centre mid for the whole game.
I mean, what a boy he is, isn't he? He's improved so much from that we saw last season.
I've just found this stat on him for tonight. Like his stats from tonight. He had 100% long ball accuracy, 93% pass accuracy, 118 touches, 3 crosses, 2 interceptions, an assist and a clean sheet.
The thing I've got is Cancelo offensively did really well. Defensively, arguably could have given away a penalty, and also Liner was stood in that his left back spot unmarked so often, but every time Stindl got the ball or Zakaria got the ball, no one would pass to him, even though he was wide open every single time. Gladbach went for all 3 times. Gladbach went forward. And
what did you notice from every Gladbach goal kick? They were played out from the back, but they wouldn't move anywhere.
This is the one thing I wanted to say. I said it last week with Juventus playing out from the back. Do not play out from the back if you can't. Right?
They didn't move.
They are a mid-table Bundesliga team at the minute. Don't play out from the back against the best team in the world. Right?
It was laughable at times. Like the keeper passes it like not even a yard basically. Defender gets it, and then you just see City players just go at him, and he's like, "Oh no!"
I can't pronounce the left back's name, but
Benzabani.
Benzabani.
Guardiola went up to him while he was taking a throw in and just rested his head on his back and laughed.
So much disrespect.
I know.
Funny though, isn't it?
They have no chance in the second leg if they go away to Man City and play like that. They've got to go away. I'm fine with playing around in their half, but they didn't have a free kick in Man City's half until the 53rd minute or something like that. And even then, they passed it back to the goalkeeper.
I mean, that is a pretty niche stat, to be fair, Cameron. That's like you've picked, what can I use? Oh, they didn't have a free kick until the 53rd minute. Maybe it's really good at not getting fouled.
They didn't have a free kick in Man City's half until the 53rd minute.
I mean, they did have a couple of chances. One was a chance that never came. The ball was overhit to Play, and then the other one was a flick from Play, and then he got subbed off immediately afterwards. Although I thought it was actually a really good effort.
Did Wolf have one in the last minute of the game?
Yeah,
So
wasn't that
Edison made
quick
his
enough.
first save in the Champions League in over 2 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was about to say that. It's like 2 hours since he last made a save, and I think the last one was against Porto or something.
I mean, 2
That was the
hours
last time
in
he
football
conceded.
terms isn't that long, is it?
But he hasn't conceded in the Champions League since the first game.
Aye.
2 hours without making a save is a long time. Like
You might as well just rewear his kit. He doesn't need it washed. He's done now.
nearly 1.5 games without making a save. It's not like it's just he hasn't conceded in 1.5 games.
Might
but
as well just do a Joe Hart and sit on the advertising boards.
Aye. Have a nap.
do some Head and Shoulders adverts. With this game, we saw another goal and assist from Bernardo Silva. He's been a bit of an enigma. He arrived, it was a slow start, people questioning, is he worth this money? And then in his second season is arguably one of the best central midfielders in the world. I think if you had to make a World 11 for that season, Bernardo Silva would have been in it.
Yeah.
Then last season, he looked, again, as Aaron mentioned, a Space Jam player where all of his powers had been sucked out of him. And at the beginning of this season, he didn't look like he'd changed. And it was one of those where I know that Man City weren't great either, but I was thinking he could be sold in the summer after the season. And over the last 4 months, he's been absolutely phenomenal. But he's also starting to rack up goals and assists now. This is 3 or 4 on the bounce, including Premier League, where he's really starting to make an impression in the final third. Is this someone that we've overlooked and that we need to now start considering for our teams?
I took him out, man.
It's pep roulette, isn't it?
Of course it did.
Well, the thing is, though, like, for the listeners that don't know, we have our own Premier League draft league. And
Oh, wow.
I jumped on Bernardo Silva probably about a month ago. And because like Nathan says, pep roulette, Bernardo Silva is one of their fittest players. And along with Sterling, he's got the most minutes. So he very rarely, especially when De Bruyne was injured, misses games. He's kind of immune from the roulette right now. I know that's jinxed, and I jinx loads of players. But with Bernardo Silva, he is becoming kind of a fixture in that midfield because, especially with the injuries that they've got around them and managing Foden's minutes, Gundogan getting injured for a little bit, De Bruyne's coming back. But even then, even when De Bruyne was fit, Gundogan was playing, Bernardo Silva kicked Mahrez out the team. So he seems to be immune as of right now, but obviously that can change really quickly. But he's a very trusted player right now. And I agree with what Dan was saying, that he is someone that we should start to be paying attention to. And yeah, I know Gundogan's gotten all the headlines lately, but with his performances, he deserves them.
But with Gundogan, you don't know whether he's going to go into a tackle and come out the other side and not be on a stretcher. But I think one player I was impressed with from a Gladbach perspective was Dennis Sigaria.
Yeah.
Because every time he got the ball, he looked to move it forward. Not to where Liner was, but he looked to move it forward. And I think he was the only person who actually showed some urgency, and he showed why he should be playing every week for them. I know he came back and he was the only change they made from the last game in the Bundesliga, and it showed because he was the best player. Even though they did originally say in the BT Sport that he was playing centre back, but they obviously got that wrong. He was playing like a
Not unsurprising.
He was playing like a box-to-box midfielder role, and definitely should have gotten an assist if he just played his pass right. And I can see him being Rodri's replacement, even though Rodri's not done much wrong, but he just fits. He fits that role perfectly, and the pace he has. I mean, he was about 5 yards behind Rodri at one point, and he just overtook him and just left him. So I think he's definitely one that will make a move to the Premier League for Man United or Man City very, very soon. Just a bit of transfer rumour.
Thanks, Dan.
Create my own rumours.
Thanks for that one. Thanks, man.
Scout Cameron.
Getting hired soon.
I mean, last week he said that Ronaldo was going to Holland.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't mean that one.
Get your money on it.
But if he ends up at Ajax, you know where it came from.
You know where it's came. You brokered the deal.
I want Mino Raiola's cut.
Right then, fellas, we will go through our teams, how we've done for the players that have played this week, and we'll have an overall point. So, Nathan, do you want to start us off?
I had Marcus Llorente in, João Felix in the first game. Didn't really do as much. But then and obviously Kimmich lost his points. Neuer lost his a few, but he still got them two still got his 5. Romero was looking to get 8 and then conceded, so I only ended up with 5. Gundogan with 3, and then João Cancelo got his 11 points. So really picked up my points. Finished with 72 points this week.
Unreal for this week. Well done, mate.
Nice.
So I'm now 24th in our league. 187th in England. So I'll take that.
Cameron?
Well, I captained João Felix for last night, and I had him in Oblak. João Felix would have got 4 points, but I moved the captaincy to Sterling, who really disappointed. He just ran into brick walls every time he tried to do anything. And also had Foden tonight, who got his 3 points. But I also had Romero, obviously the 5 points. I ended up on a brilliant 40 points. Did move up in the league, though.
Wow, that is how bad you were before that 40 points.
I'm up to 69th. There's too many numbers in the other ones to.
Do you know what the best thing is with your team? I'm looking through all your match days. Your highest was your first week.
Yes, I know. Don't have to bring it up. Next week, En-Nesyri is gone.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks, he's
I
gone.
feel that, Cameron. I'm going to go next so that we can end on a high with Aaron. So for yesterday, I brought in Kimmich, Lewandowski, and Koeman, who got me 2 points, 4 points, and 6 points. I had Captain Lewandowski, took the risk today, put it on Gundogan. That obviously failed. I've now lost 3 points from that transaction. Casemiro came in for Angelino, got me 5 points over Angelino, 0. Gosens came in for En-Nesyri. So that was an exchange of no points whatsoever because it was 2 for 2. So I've ended up with a hugely disappointing 47 points.
Woo!
Horrendous. And I am down in everything. It's just red arrows galore. And I think I'm about 14,051 in the world, which is, I think, the lowest I've ever been on this game. It's literally the lowest I've ever been on this game. England, I don't even want to know where I am. 235. Crap. Absolute crap. So I'm just here for the banter from now on, boys. Aaron finishes off in some style. I don't even know what your score is, but I know that you did right.
So I kept my captain on Salah the whole time. I just didn't think that if anyone was going to try and beat his score, they would have to score twice, and I didn't trust anyone to do that, not even Lewandowski. And that paid off in the end. So I had Pepe Reina in goal, so that worked. I still finished all right. But I finished on 52 points, so it was okay, but I dropped down a few places from last night. So I don't know how many places I've went up or down since the last time I said my rank. But right now I am 6,500 in the world, 120th in England, and 41st in the Atalanta Fan League. So it is what it is. Hopefully, and that's without Mbappe and Haaland and any Man City defenders. So I feel lucky to be here, to be honest. It's kind of, was I really invited to this party? I don't know.
You gate crashing. Well, we'll be back before the next round with our preview again. We'll go through what we normally do with all the form. We'll try and pick some better players this time for the the second legs.
Listen to me.
Yeah, it probably won't be as long as the last pod. Obviously, we've got a lot more information. So in terms of the previous preview, I don't think we'll need 2 episodes for that one. And I think at this point, me and Cameron definitely are just here for the bands.
Ooh, yeah, I've just checked.
So you can follow Nathan and Aaron's adventure in trying to climb the leagues.
258th in the world. 1,000.
If you want to tweet us, we are at UCL Fantasy Pod. Please follow us. Also get yourself on YouTube, Spotify. We are the main event UCL Fantasy Podcast. Like, subscribe, give us a listen, and we will see you next time. So thank you everyone for listening. And lads, thanks so much for joining me. Take care.